everyone! Welcome back to my channel. I'm Lau and I'm a cosplayer, especially Star Wars and Disney cosplay. And yeah, today I want to do another one of my cosplay showcase videos. I have done, like previously, one of my Satine Kryze from Star Wars The Clone Wars. I will link that down below. And I've also done one for my Ahsoka like Untold Tales book cover version. So 2 Star Wars cosplays, and today I'm doing another one of my Star Wars cosplays where I just show you the costume in detail, like tell you a little bit about like how I made it or what the materials are. Basically finished costumes, so no tutorials. Today I want to do and show you my Padmé cosplay, which is a look from the Clone Wars. So it's a look that never has like showcased like in the film, so it's not a live action costume replica cosplay kind of thing. It's a Clone Wars look, basically this one. And this costume I made like last year around that time, so it's roughly a year old now. And I definitely wanted to do this Padmé look because I'm a huge like Clone Wars fan. Like Clone Wars is probably the main thing that I love about Star Wars, probably the thing that I love about Star Wars the most, kind of. And yeah, this look is probably one of the most iconic from like Padmé during the Clone Wars, and probably because of her headpiece. So this is why I wanted to do it. It's like so strange, and I definitely wanted to make it like a thing like in cosplay. I've never seen that before or on anyone else. Yeah, so let's just start. The very first layer of the costume is actually not very special or interesting. It's just to have a kind of a petticoat underneath to give a little bit of, or more, depending on how you see it, as a little bit or a lot of volume to the skirt part. It is like several layers of tulle fabric. There we go, on top of each other, and at the very bottom there's one like loop, like a loop skirt, to not fall together, to keep the volume, but you could not really call it a crinoline or something because it has just one loop at the bottom here. I did not make this specifically for this Padmé dress. I also have this for my older Padmé, like from episode 2, the packing gown. And I think, don't know, might have worn it for another one as well. So that's the very first layer. So this is a very simple dark blue dress, which is a fabric that has a little bit of shine to it. It's honestly it was I bought it just as a as a lining, so it's actually a lining fabric, but it looks really like expensive, and I really like that it has a little bit of a structure to it, a little bit crushed structure, and you don't see much of it. You just see like the front of it in the end, and you see the sleeves, which are something completely different. So I think it would have been possible that this is like a completely different layer, or these sleeves go to the layer actually which comes on top of it, but I decided to have them like attached to this layer, which looks like this. It looks strange, but in the end it makes totally sense, and I decided to go for a fabric that already has these patterns, which look like a little bit like what Padmé has, like at her sleeves, like what the fabric looks, but it is not the same. So I decided also to put these swirly lines on top of it. You can't really see that here right now, but I think I will show it to you like at the front of the dress as well. So these lines are made with a special fabric coloring, but which is like a little bit of puffy, so it stays. It is not really like flat. It has a little bit of a texture, so maybe you can see it. And I just like printed it like by hand, like if I had like a tube in my hand, and then that's how I printed it, while it was still like lying flat, while I hadn't sewn it on. So this is it. I've just a simple a zipper in the back, which goes all the way down to the hips. And of course the dress is floor length. And you will see why I put some like Velcro here. It's to keep the like top like what how should I call it? It's like the gown that comes on top, like in place. I show it to you next. Actually, between the top part, which comes next, and this is a belt, which will be sitting around here. So just in between the Velcro part. So part of the Velcro is here, and then the other part is here. I cannot put it on the mannequin because it does not fit the mannequin, because the shoulders are too wide and it does not have an opening. I can just show you how I pull it over my shoulders. Like this. So I don't need an opening for kind of skirts or these kind of skirts, belts that are sitting around like waist or a little bit lower, because I can like squeeze myself in, so I don't need that. So it would sit here. I can just pin it there. I can't really get it over the shoulders of the mannequin. So let's pretend it is all the way around. So the top layer, I always say layer because I don't know how to call like these parts. It's like a half gown or a half dress, you see, which comes like on top of this. So this was the underdress and this is like the top dress. I made it out of velvet, as you can see. It is I would call it taupe. I don't know how if this color exists in English. It's like a blue-gray. My camera probably picks it up a little bit more bluish, but it's a blue-gray, and I think it works really well as velvet. It has these very short sleeves, which have like this pointy edge at like at the outer part of the arm of the sleeve here. It's more like a cap sleeve if you want this kind of shape. And here is the material again that you saw at the sleeves, because it looks like this when you wear it. Sleeves come from the dress which is underneath, but it looks like as if it belongs to this dress or this part of the dress. So it is the same fabric. It's kind of a like silky, but also like two different parts of, because this is more like a shiny fabric, and then this is more like a dull, like on top. I don't know how I could pronounce or could describe it best. And here you definitely can see that I also put these like swirls on top of the fabric, although I could have just left it like this, because this kind of material already reflects how the look is like on Padmé's dress. But I decided to put these swirls like directly on top of it as well. So they are also here, like this. And if you go down, because it goes down all the way, oops, it's so sunny outside right now, all the way to the bottom, then you always have swirls as well. So they are like this, they come out here, swirl, and then you have them following the same lines here. Zack, zack. I have it inside. I lined it with a simple gold fabric, which I use for a lot of different things, for different cosplays, because when you're walking, let's put it here, when you're walking and it pops open, then it doesn't look like strange or something, and it has just this other gold inside. And yeah, to prevent it from like popping up and flying somewhere, wherever, I put, as I told you, these Velcro parts. So the first one is up here. The second part is directly below the belt part. It's here. And then there's one other, which is down here. There it is. So it is kind of loose, so it's not sewn onto this. That's what I think it's meant to be. But it's also, when you're walking, it's not that it always like flies open like this. It kind of stays where you want it by just one small Velcro part. If you go all the way around, not something very special in the back, very plain, but it is a Clone Wars costume, which are not as like detailed as the movie costumes, but I kind of like it with how what like fabric choices I took, like the velvet, then this silky silky jacquard kind of fabric, and where I put all the swirls around, which gives it just another like shine. And that's actually everything for the dress part. So there aren't very many like details. It's the belt, the underdress, and the top part of the dress. I am also wearing matching blue pumps with the dress, which are the same ones as I'm wearing for my Satine costume. So I have no idea what shoes she's actually wearing with this dress. You never see it. You see, anyway, you see this costume in a couple of Clone Wars episodes, and yeah, definitely most of them are like in the Senate on Coruscant, or one when she meets Satine. You kind of never see her shoes, so I figured I'd just go with something that matches the dress, blue pumps, and I'm wearing these blue tights, which are also the same as I'm wearing for my Satine. So yeah, kind of Clone Wars, my Clone Wars shoes, these are. Yeah, what else do we have? There are like two parts with two tiny like details, which are like accessories, which I have for the costume, and it's these kind of bangles. Let me show them to you up close. They are very simple. They are not the best thing that I ever like crafted. They are made out of Warbler. I mean, I always use Cosplay flax, which is basically the same as Warbler. I don't see a difference, but it's a little bit cheaper, I think, but mostly the same. And they are then painted or whatever in gold. So they are also gold, and they go here. They go on the upper arms. So like this, and they are tight enough to stay up on my arm without sliding down. So they go on here, which I cannot show you because right now, of course, they don't stick here. So maybe I just make a knot in here so to represent this. So just two of them. What else I can tell you about the sleeves is this material is absolutely not stretchy. So this is like super stiff, not stiff, but it's not stretchy at all. but her like sleeves are very tight. So I was like debating taking another fabric than this one, but in the end I chose the same one because it goes so well together, because you know, you have the same fabric for the same kind of like look. And I chose to make them very tight, so it's not the most comfortable thing to be able to move in those, because they're very tight, especially like up here, like at the wrists. I have like really like slender wrists, and I can like squeeze my hands into like basically everything that is the same size as my wrist. That's why I can do it. Like if I would do this exact costume for other people, I would probably make it a little bit more loose, or I would put like a small like zipper in here. But I personally don't need it because I can squeeze my hand like in here, although it is tight and not stretchy. Just FYI. And she's wearing earrings in this costume, which I really like. They are very simple green. I don't know what you would call this shape. It's like a monolith. No, I don't know what you could call that. And I crafted those out of like air drying crafting clay, and I just put these simple earring parts on there. So there are not very many like details concerning the dress itself, except for like this part, like the structured part, like these bangles and the earrings. But what makes the costume the most like outstanding, of course, is the hairstyle. Ta-da! There we go. This is kind of the reason why I wanted to make this costume. I really love that hairstyle because it looks very like triangular, or really like so out of place that no one would really kind of be able to make that hairstyle. And in one of the episodes you even see like one of Padmé's handmaidens giving like this to her that she can put it on. So it's not meant to be her real hair. It is meant to be like a wig, or as I would more like call it, a helmet. It is like a helmet. I won't put it on my head because I've got a hairstyle right now, but it's basically, you can see inside, the base layer is made out of like newspaper, which is together, when you mix it together with this special glue, then you get this paper mache. So it is like very easy. So I made a paper mache sculpt of my own head, so it fits perfectly on my head. I made it like on my head, always laid more of these paper mache parts like on top of my head, let it dry, took it off. Then it's like a helmet which exactly fits my head. On that I sculpted out of more like newspapers. I crunched them together and I kind of sculpted the shape which represents like this hairstyle. I will definitely insert a picture. And after that I started to make it a little bit more detailed, also again with paper mache. So all like the shape underneath this hair is paper mache, so you don't need to like buy expensive materials for that. So that's at least, because I used to work with this kind of stuff for other hairstyles of Padmé as well, also for Leia. So whenever I do anything concerning putting wig hair on top of any kind of specific shape, then most often I've used paper mache underneath. That's how I did it. And yeah, I will insert probably some photos now of the progress, but because I think I took some at a point. Yeah, and then I bought, I think, 2 different wigs. One which is a little bit of a lighter brown, you can see it sometimes in between here, and one which is a like typical dark brown. So yeah, then I like put the wigs, like I cut all the different like braid, what would you call it, like braid parts from the wigs. You know, wig often is made of these thin like parts. In German I would call it Tresse. So I like cut out all of the different braid parts of the wig, and I glued like layer by layer it on the paper mache like base. And that took kind of a long time, but I did it like in front of my TV, and I watched Star Wars or whatever I watched, and it took some days, but then I had it like this, very smooth. And when I say glue, I really mean I take real glue at first, like a craft glue, and put it like, glue it down, then put the glue here, glue it over, and just the very like top layers I always put like with a lot of hairspray, because glue is not, sometimes you see it through, it's not that, because it's not that well then, because the top layers then I like sprayed down with hairspray a lot, also at the back, and I cut it sometimes. Like I think in the back I also did it the other way around. Front it's definitely like this, so this direction. At the back I think some hair is definitely the other way around, it's definitely this direction. And sometimes you see the ends of the hair, I don't know if you can see that, then it comes from the front and it ends right here, some hair, but the base, like the layer underneath, comes from the bottom. So it's just trying out. And then I had like the base, like with all of the hair on top. I will insert a picture. And then it was on me to make the whatever you would call these detail parts here, which I thought they must be kind of a metal kind of fabric, metal kind of thing or whatever. So I tried to make them out of Warbler, or I tried to make them out of foam, but they didn't like really stay on there. Also, like this part here, it needed to fit, it needed to look good. Like here are very small like stripes of it, which still are Warbler because I never removed them, because these were okay. But with this part, it just didn't stay on. I could glue it, it wouldn't stay on the hair. So then my go-to material, whenever I don't know what else to use, is to use leather. So these stripes here are leather. They are real leather. And the great thing with leather is if you get one which is like gold and shiny, it kind of looks like metal or some kind of golden shiny metal material, and it is smooth, and the back side of leather is really rough, and you can glue it down so well, so it stays on so well. I made kind of a pattern construction before, tried out what way to put these stripes, and they are definitely cut in, yeah, they are not all straight stripes, they are cut in shape, so they have this curve, they have this curve. You really need them. There's also one on top here. And honestly, I think Padmé's hairstyle is supposed to be loose at the back, and this kind of like edge here was supposed to be like loose hair, which comes at the back. But I decided it is not working because it looked so strange when I let hair flying here to have this like kind of edge. So I decided to make it the complete shape, that it is like has this edge here and here, and not have really loose hair at the back. For me it worked that way the best, and it is one of my favorite cosplay pieces that I ever crafted. Let me tell you, the first day I wore it, I got a headache like so bad, because it was so tight in the front here at my like forehead, that I needed to put something like underneath it always to get it loose. So I used a spoon. I had a spoon with me and I used it to put it under there and get it like loose. I had such a bad headache. But when I got home, I loosened it a bit. I took out some of the paper mache from this part and I just covered it up with like tape. Let's just call it tape. I put this tape underneath. You never see what's inside, right? And now it is so much more comfortable. I don't need a spoon for this hair thing anymore because it is comfortable. I can wear it. It is lightweight because, well, it is made of paper mache, so it's basically newspapers in there and a little bit of hair. So it's kind of really light. And also the whole costume is very comfortable because it's just a dress. There's no restraints, you don't have any armor parts, you can sit down. I mean, it has a floppy petticoat, but that's everything. Just some earrings and this thing, and it stays in place. I don't have to pin it down anywhere, it just stays in place because the first layer was that I molded like my head, like a helmet of paper mache, which I now loosened a little bit because it was a little bit too tight. That's it. I know, can I put it here without looking like super strange? Let's keep it like this. Yeah, basically that's it. It's not such a difficult costume concerning the fabric part, concerning the details. This thing is probably the most like complicated, but I would not say complicated. It just takes time to glue all the hair on top and another layer of hair, and then to like make it a little bit mixed between the two different like shades of brown that I had between the wigs, because Padmé's hair also is not just flat out dark brown. It has some light shines in it, like some different brown tones. So that's it. I will definitely insert now also some pictures where I wore it, and depending on if I find material of me walking in it or like real filming. I think I filmed something, but I'm not sure. I will insert that. And yeah, that's my cosplay showcase video of Padmé Amidala from Star Wars: The Clone Wars.